All Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield had to do was present an award together at the Oscars, and now we have one of my favorite love stories in film? Let's talk about it. My name is Ren, and this is my review of We Live in Time. Welcome back, film family. Thank you for joining me to journey all the way back to this year's London Film Festival, where the big hot ticket for me was surprisingly an A24 love story that I expected to emotionally annihilate me. But did it? We follow the story of an up-and-coming chef and a recent divorcée who find their lives forever changed when a chance encounter brings them together in a decade-spanning, deeply moving romance. And what We Live in Time essentially is Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh being in love and living a full life for nearly 2 hours. The results are expectedly sweet and emotional thanks to John Crowley's handle on this story, as well as the obvious reasons that is the incredible chemistry between our two leads. But it is a much funnier film than expected. Thanks to the charm of our two leads and the film's moving score, this non-linear modern love story is elevated to something truly heartbreaking. But what's so refreshing about We Live in Time is how rare it is these days to see a tragic yet romantic film like this handled in such an optimistic way. We Live in Time doesn't go about its story in any way that I expected, especially with the A24 label attached to it. I thought I knew what I was going in for, and it is something completely different, for better or worse. What We Live in Time is a mundane love story that is highlighted by the beauty, by the loss, by the quotidian nature of our everyday lives and the relatability that comes from these characters. It is essentially a Richard Curtis film. If you are on board for that, for a love actually, for an about time sort of story, this is exactly that. And About Time is one of my favorite films, so We Live in Time was a delightful surprise for me, as Crowley wisely uses the nonlinear structure to spend most of the time looking back, celebrating life, while looking ahead to the would-be future of this relationship, juxtaposing euphoric joy with devastating sorrow. It makes for a joyful, wonderful, quite humorous, but as you can expect, emotional journey with characters you care for, where the relationship is handled so gracefully with so much care and nuance, where you can feel overwhelmed, it can feel messy, it's filled with such imperfections and moments of sadness, but you never get tired because you just see the reality of it all. It is so grounded, while the world is ideal, somewhat fantastical, some people would say, where everyone is just good and everyone just brings joy and everyone is just a nice human being. But that's the Richard Curtis way of doing things. It's the relationship at the heart of this story that grounds everything. Even in some of the more heightened sequences, like the birth in the bathroom, genuinely one of the sequences of the year, each of these pivotal relationship landmark moments are handled with such care, so gracefully, where you're just allowed to sit with characters as they talk and process so many complex emotions. Despite these being the most elongated sequences of the film, where everything else just snapshots in between elation and devastating sorrow, when you're allowed to process everything with these characters, this is when the relationship truly flourishes and you're informed about where they are in all other moments, building to an incredible emotional crescendo, particularly thanks to a mesmerizing Florence Pugh, who has the heavy duty of carrying this film in her back. Not that Andrew Garfield doesn't do anything, he's just as good. This film belongs to the two of them and to the believable love story you have between them. It's genuinely dangerous to have two actors who look this good and have such insatiable chemistry. You can't help but feel moved and compelled. And it's kind of unfair that they are so good together, even though they've never worked together before. And while this is a somewhat ideal and for many overtly sentimental portrayal of love, it's one of those special stories that truly depicts love as a risk. You love someone, they might get cancer. It might last a week. You love someone, it might last a year. And somehow, despite the nonlinear narrative where you see so much of what's ahead for these people, there's a sense of uncertainty because the things that are out of our control, but what isn't out of our control is allowing ourselves to take the risk, allow ourselves to go pick something off from the street. So maybe Florence Pugh will run you over and you'll be together for the rest of your lives. There is a beauty to how stories are told in this way. There's a beauty to having these stories told and have a light shine upon them. And when you have such a carefully handled director on the helm and two incredible stars that thrive off of being earnest and vulnerable and genuine on screen, you have a love story that everyone can see themselves in, for the good and for the bad. That is the real beauty of We Live in Time. Equal parts comfort and melancholy. A story that reminds you of the healing power of storytelling, as I'm sure so many people can unfortunately see themselves or someone they know, someone they love in this story. It is a film that has topics of death and sickness, but it's not a film about death and sickness. It's a film about the highs and lows that make this experience called life worth living and ultimately worth sharing with someone else through our faults, through our worst days, through our best days. It's always so much better to handle all these complexities, all these things that are out of our control, that are so much bigger than us, with someone else by our side that we trust. And you see that beautifully portrayed on screen by two of the best movie stars working today, who more than lived up to the hype, and their chemistry did as well, they had carrying this film into release. Unfortunately, neither the carousel or the horse show up. What's up with that? I would be lying if I told you I have specific issues with this film. I really just wasn't expecting this kind of love story to be told by A24, by John Crowley. It's not a film that immediately goes for your heart. It earns it through authentic and genuine emotional beats in a believably love story, even if it's set in a world that is not that believable. So now it's time for you to start the conversation about We Live in Time in the comments below. Let me know how excited you are for it, if you've seen it, how much did you like it, what is your favorite love story ever told in film? Anything and everything down there. If you're enjoying this very late London Film Festival review, many more like it right up here. Or if you just want to stick around and join me for more movies and TV, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button, and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. We Live in Time lives off the earnest chemistry between its lovable leads. It may fall short of its own emotionally devastating potential, but its heart and charm authentically capture the complexity, the beauty, and the importance of our day-to-day existence. I'm giving We Live in Time a B+. Thank you so much for watching, Film Family. Remember to start the conversation about We Live in Time in the comments below. What is your favorite performance from Florence Pugh? Your favorite performance from Andrew Garfield? And remember to tell me your favorite love story in film. Anything and everything down there. I'll be back very soon with more reviews. So until the next one, love each other and love the movies.